Ekabo, welcome. Agboto, blessing of long life, Adupoi Ori Egun. This is part 4 in our series on elisions and translating liturgical Yoruba words. Liturgical in English meaning referring to liturgy meaning ritual. So in liturgical Yoruba, we're referring to the liturgical process that's associated with our oral scripture called Odu Ifa. Odu meaning spirit of the, literally spirit of darkness, but it's also a synonym for womb. Womb is a synonym for portal. So these words all have multi-layers of meaning. Ifa is literally the Yoruba word for wisdom. So Odu Ifa means the wisdom that comes from the void, or the wisdom that comes from the womb of creation. Today we got 2 words that I'd like to discuss, Pupa and Ina. Pupa is the Yoruba word for red. Now, let me explain it a little bit. It's not literally red. In the older Yoruba, the Yoruba that's most commonly found in Ifa Odu, or Ifa oral scripture, there's only 3 words for color, Ofun, Pupa, and Dudu, which are loosely translated as white, red, and black, but it would be more accurately defined as light, dark, and in between. That's not quite right, but it's a reference to shades of colors, but each of those 3 colors has a spiritual meaning, right? So white is associated with spirit communication, mystic vision, coolness, right brain, left brain integration. Red is associated with passion, fire, left brain function. It's actually connected to the fight or flight portion of our consciousness. So the color coding one, and then black is the unknown mystery, right? So if we look at the color coding for the Ebora, the which are described as male orishas, they're male not by gender but by function. In other words, male orisha are those orishas that embrace expansive energy. Female orishas are those orishas that embrace contractive energy. So that's the basic polarity in creation of electromagnetism. Electricity is expansive. Magnetism or gravity is contractive. So when we look at the color coding of the beads for the Ebora, Eshu is red and black. That's the first impetus of expansion emerging out of the mystery of the unknown. Ogun, which is in a sense pure testosterone, pure movement for survival, is pure red. In the diaspora, it's green and black, but in Africa, Ogun's beads are red. And then when we get to Shango, it's red and white. So we're taking the testosterone of Shango, the redness, symbolizing that energy. We're mixing that with white, the energy of coolness, contemplation, balance. So red and white and Shango. We have in the difference between Shango and Ogun, the difference between strategy and tactics. Strategy is the big picture. That's Shango's realm. Shango is the leader of the army, and then Ogun, the tactician, the person on the ground who's carrying out those orders. So that's a different function and a different way of being in the world. And then you get to white for Obatala, which is pure maturity, contemplation, connection to spirit. So red, black, red, white, white is a symbolic reference to different functions of the Orisha. And actually, I would say different stages in the development of both men and women. Is kind of a coded reference to what Joseph Campbell called the hero's journey. So today's gonna be a little different. Rather than just an extension of the same word, we're going to look at Pupa and Ina as synonyms. So Pupa is red, Ina is fire. In terms of understanding Odu Ifa, red means expansive, Ina means expansive, Pupa means Ina, Ina means Pupa. And in addition to being expansive, it's emotionally charged. So Ina and Pupa would be passion, would be courage, it would be heroic, and things like that, things that we associate with getting things done. So for today's lesson, in terms of showing how certain words break down, Egun, which we all know from the lesion Ogun, meaning the bones. Literally, it means the bones. So it's a reference to the memory that's stored in the bones of a person after they've made their transition. So because we believe that memory is associated with the physical remains of the person, it's typical in traditional Yoruba culture to bury your ancestors under the house. So, you know, there's a lot of diaspora references to funerals, not funerals, to graveyards and cemeteries, but they don't really exist the same way as in Yoruba cultures they do in the diaspora. Typically, the ancestors are buried either under the house or close to the house. Okay, so then we have L.A. Ri. It's a reference to spirits that bring good fortune. So from the Elysian, Ile, L.A. Ray, Ile Ray, means the house of the source of good fortune. Again, that house of the source of good fortune, it could be a place in this world where you go to receive blessings. It could be another word for shrine, but Ile Ray is also the source of the house. Yes, the house that's the source of good fortune. So that would be another reference to Orun, or what is probably translated as heaven, and probably more accurately translated as the invisible realm, or the realm of the ancestors. And then we have Emere, which is Imi Ire. That's the internal source of good fortune. Emi, EMI, and then RERE is the Elysian here. Let me go ahead with the next page. Emi, Ire, meaning the good fortune in my soul, or the part of me that remains hopeful and positive, the part of me that inspires others. So as we begin to look at these component parts of Yoruba words, it starts to tell a story beyond the story, if that makes sense. So thank everybody. We're going to call that a class. Ire Asheto.